Welcome to r/EntitledPeople, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, Saturday Shift Saga, a stressful day in retail. The second story, Midnight Mayhem, the Mattress Fort Rebellion. The third story, A Tale of Chaos, Mismanagement, and Escaping the Flames. The first story is one of my worst shifts in retail. So this happened in July 2022 or August 2022. At that point, I only worked at my retail job every Saturday due to working a full-time job 5 days a week. Even working 1 day a week that point just sucked. On this Saturday, I was working register, which I absolutely hate and everyone knows it. I was on register and probably for like the first hour, I was in a good mood. I was talking with the other cashiers whenever there were no customers around. That was until my manager, let's call her Kay, came up to me and basically told me how I shouldn't bother the other cashiers and that I needed to leave them alone. She basically told me that this isn't the time to be socializing when there's work to be done, which again, there were no customers to wait on, and gave me something to do. I should also note that she told me this in front of the other cashiers who were literally standing around as well. One of the cashiers, who's an older lady who's really nice and she's one of my favorite coworkers, came up to me and said that Kay was being really rude and that I shouldn't let it get to me and how I wasn't bothering her or anyone else. I wish that would have been the end of it. A little later, the next customer service worker comes in to take over the previous customer service worker's shift. We'll call her M. At 6 p.m., one of the cashiers was done with her shift and went to clock out. M decided to go with her and show her pictures of her dog, and then proceeded to have a conversation with her. Meanwhile, I'm by myself taking care of the line of customers. There was another cashier. She's also my friend, so we'll call her F, but she was out on the floor putting things away, as of Kay's request, which I'm thinking she had her on the floor just out of spite of me staying on register, but I'm not mad at my friend at all. So M is talking with the cashier who just clocked out and is on her phone, while I'm over here working my butt off, and at one point, I asked her if she can jump on and help me ring, and she said she would. Nope. She continued talking with the clocked out cashier while also on her phone, as I was trying to take care of customers. One of my customers I was checking out even mentioned how I seemed to be the only one working. With another customer, I once again asked him to come up and help me ring, and she said she would, but taking her sweet time getting to the register. She was still on her phone. The customer I was with even mentioned how it looked like she was ignoring me, and I had to try my best to hide the annoyance while speaking to the customer. But did she get in trouble for this? Nope, and this happened twice. A little later, M told me she was going to take the trash back, and then use the bathroom so she would be right back. Meaning I would be the only one up front again, and since I've been there for years, I wasn't too nervous about. Cue 10 to 15 minutes and she still decided to not come back up front. At one point the phone rang and Kay said over the walkie that someone up front needed to answer it. Again, I'm the only one up there. I said over the walkie how I was with a customer and how someone else would have to answer it. Then Kay said back in an angry and stern voice how the phone had to be answered up front, so I had to stop what I was doing, run over to the register that had the phone, take the call, and then run back and apologize to the customer, which luckily she was understanding as it was obvious I was up there alone. It got to the point where my stress level was through the roof. The reason I don't like register is because my anxiety goes high if I'm up there for too long, and I get overwhelmed and want to break down and cry. I was so stressed that my stomach started hurting, and I mentioned to one of my coworkers and Kay that I was running to the bathroom real quick. Cue 5 minutes of me being in the restroom, and Kay says over the walkie of where I'm at. 5 minutes. M literally got away with disappearing for 15 to 20 minutes, and I couldn't have 5 minutes. I was literally on the toilet waiting for my stomach pain to go away, which it did. Once I told her I was in the bathroom, I'm thinking, great, now I'm going to get lectured for leaving the register just to use the bathroom. She didn't. After I got back out, F got pulled to zone the store and M did her nightly things. I once again asked M to jump on register, and this time it took her a minute to jump on and help me. But literally mostly the rest of that night was just me on register. This wasn't the first time Kay has treated me like crap. Even some of my other coworkers agreed that Kay is always after me for some reason. I get my work done even if it is a slow process. There was one time in January 2022 where she kept getting annoyed at me and told me to clock out 10 minutes early but told no one else. I stayed until the time I left, and when I went to get dinner, it was past 9 p.m., and I didn't eat dinner yet. I got a notification that my work time has been edited to 10 minutes before I clocked out, which peeved me off. What I also hate, I had to ask the senior manager for months if I can be on the floor more, and she said she would see what she can do. There was always me being on register and sometimes be mistreated upon register if I dared to do something all the other cashiers did. It got to the point where I told the SM about my anxiety and feeling overwhelmed while I'm on register, and that's when she took me seriously, which peeved me off because it shouldn't have gotten to that point. When it's anyone else, it's, oh okay, I'll put you on this position the next schedule, while I had to fight back for months. I don't mind being on register for a little bit, but being on there for a long time builds up my anxiety. I also got diagnosed with autism in February 2022, so that could also be why I always got so overwhelmed. Now at that point they had me being a cashier again out of nowhere and I didn't know why. There was one night I was trying not to cry and not to have an anxiety attack while I was on register. One of my coworkers told me I should stay quiet about talking to my SM while I'm on register again, but at that point I just don't care anymore. I was tired of being treated like this. Edit. I should also note that Kay was another coworker like the rest of us. She even started after I did before getting promoted to manager. I quit in September, so I'm so thankful that an F is following behind me soon. But yeah, I feel so free and I'm actually at a job that everyone respects me and treats me well. It is a physical job, but I like it. The second story is Tales of Olden Times. It was a rainy night at the hotel and I had just gotten my paperwork done and my audit ran. So naturally, as one sleepy geeb would do, I put my head down and let myself rest from my long day. I hear the loudest crash come from above me. It shook the entire light fixture in the lobby and it really had me shook as well. I got up and waited a moment to see if I heard anything else. More noises began to ensue and I started getting calls asking about the loud ruckus coming from the second floor. I had to make a trip upstairs to see what was going on. As I'm going to the elevator, the power flickered, and I decided to head for the stairs. I remember specifically telling myself, of course, someone could be getting murdered above me and I have to take the stairs. Well, I ended up on the second floor, and the power again was struggling as the storm outside was terrible. I look down the hall and see mattresses and blankets and pillows all outside of the rooms around the right stairwell. I just slowly approached, watching these people arranging our mattresses in the hallway and putting sheets and blankets under them, making a fort of some type. Now the two women doing all this were laughing and playing loud music. I saw bottles of alcohol. Me, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you guys can't be doing this in the hallway. I need you to put the mattress back where they belong. The music needs to be turned down, and I have to ask that you not gather in the halls like this. Woman 1, you work here? Me with my name tag on and dressed in full uniform, not working there. Woman 2, girl, let's just get out pics and get to bed, girl. I don't want to get kicked out. Woman 1, no, they can't kick us out. We just paid over $300 to stay here. I will be D'd if this fat bee is gonna kick me out. I ain't playing with you, baby. Go back downstairs before you come to me. I remember her laughing and grabbing her drink and walking into the room, and the second woman who was still out there was trying to apologize and was really nice about everything. They had a group of other girls who were hiding in the room with the first woman. I saw them when she opened up the door to walk away. The second woman was in the process of taking down the sheets and pillows and she turned her phone off. I remember what happened next. To this day, it makes me cackle to think about. Woman 1 comes out the door with one of the ladies who were in the room and started helping the second woman push the mattresses back in the room. When they were finally all picked up and back in the room, the first woman stopped me before walking away. Woman 1, walk away, B. You don't need any of this. I was ignoring her and walking down the hall when a door in front of me opened up. It was an elderly lady in a little robe and slippers. She was so small and cute, you guys. I was expecting her to be sweet and nice, but oh my goodness. Me, I'm sorry if the noise woke you up, ma'am. Woman 1, just shut the heck up. We went into our rooms. The little lady walked slowly up the woman and just let her have it. Little lady, could you just shut the F up? I'm tired of hearing you and whoever the hell you got in there carrying on. I'm an old woman, but I still know how to handle people like you. So please shut up and go to your room so we can sleep and this woman can get back to work. Woman 1, excuse me? Little lady walked closer to her and pointed her finger at her. Little lady, door's that way. The woman, after a moment of looking at both of us just standing there, turned around and walked away in a huff. The little lady began walking back to her room, then turned to me afterwards. Little lady, it's your job to keep people like that in line. Don't apologize, just handle up, girl. Now let me sleep. If they wake me again, they're gonna need more than you or an ambulance. She went to her room and the rest of the night was quiet. The ladies got kicked out the morning when my manager saw my notes about everything. The person who booked the rooms and the accompanying woman were put on our DNR. The little old lady filed a complaint about them as well, and she told my manager I handled myself well considering the confrontational woman. I remember this instance anytime I look at our DNR. I still remember the look on that woman's face when the lady just told her door is that way. I honestly was getting ready to break up a fight, but luckily nothing happened. The third story is The Boss from Hell. I was a quality engineer for this contract manufacturer for 7 years. Overworked and for the most part well underpaid. We produced desktop PCs and server units. After 5 years and 2 mass layoffs, we got a new boss, an outside hire with zero knowledge on the field, but good connections with the top management of the company. I supervised a small team of technicians, and I was responsible for testing and reworking defective components, defective inventory management, and RMA returns. My new boss only interacted with me in a micromanaging fashion, where he requested daily reports of a process where turnaround times were at least 60 days. I got tired answering the same questions daily, explaining the same SH every time. He had zero interest in understanding my workflow. He misunderstood everything to the point where I felt like my job is at risk because the guy who gets to decide whether to promote or fire me does not care, does not understand what I do, have never visited a test lab before, cannot comprehend the turnaround times of a process, where the suppliers are located in China. Oh, this guy also liked to withhold relevant info from his subordinates, to keep them in an uninformed state, to secure his position as our all-knowing boss. I also witnessed him retaliating against valuable coworkers who pointed out his mistakes. I was quite stressed and had enough of the company culture in general. I gave them my 3 months notice as soon as I got accepted to a uni, to start my master's degree. My boss failed to initiate the hiring process, so my replacement arrived only 3 weeks prior my last workday. I gave him my personal phone number and we stayed in contact for an additional 2 to 3 months, where he called me in case of any work-related emergencies. His phone calls stopped after a while. I did the counseling free of charge because this guy seemed like a nice person placed in an impossible situation. Fast forward a year. I'm an MSc student now, with a good scholarship. My blood pressure is perfect, I'm well rested, hydrated, enjoy the little things in my new life. A few days ago, one of my former coworkers reached out to inform me that they've just fired my replacement for misplacing $250,000 worth of components. They still have not processed materials that I left there with specific instructions on how to initiate the RMA process, so that part of the inventory is out of warranty now. Likely another $250K USD down the drain. They also had to fire the replacement of my replacement due to extreme procrastination. The place is a flaming mess now, but my former boss got promoted. He pushed his responsibilities to his scapegoat. My former tasks are now dedicated to 4 different people. This surely introduces communication barriers and makes it even harder to solve their problems. I'm still mad at my former boss for being a D and somehow avoiding the consequences of his actions. Resigning was the best decision ever. None of my problems now. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.